20 Cross River lawmakers have been sacked for defecting to APC. And in Kaduna State, 2 local governments have been declared on 24 hours curfew, which is Jama and Kaura local government, on grounds of insecurity. Good morning and welcome to Ekwa Television. This is a program from the Dailies, where we review stories making headlines on our papers. I am Uwola Bitosin and Sele Elisha is here. We'll be reviewing papers together. Good morning, Sele.
Morning, Tosin.
You look good.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. So let's start with the papers we have this morning.
Okay, starting with the Daily Sun newspaper. Obiano, EFCC disciplines officer over leak video with the rider ex-Anambra governor gets bail after 4 days in custody. Royal Fathers Group decry alleged ill treatment. And on the Enugu Guba, we have Monarch back Akure Medu, and detail of that story can be found on page 6. And on National Convention, APC governors mend fences with the rider. Nasarawa governor says party leaders working together. Party set stringent conditions for aspirants. And the picture story here, we have the chairman of ICPC, Professor Bolaji, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Godfrey Oyema, and EFCC chairman, Abdul Rashid Bauer, and the EFCC secretary at the 6th network of the National Anti-Corruption Institution in West Africa, the General Assembly in Abuja yesterday. And we hope whatever deliberation that they have is for the better of Nigeria. Court sacked 20 APC Cross River lawmakers over defection. Umahi deputy, 16 lawmakers withdraw stay of execution motion, face appeal court. Detail of that story can be found on page 6. Buhari summoned Ozodinma Minister Economic Advisor over insecurity and economy. Detail of that story can be found on page 8. Khan urges self-defense as bandit kill 30 in Zamfara, 24 in Kaduna. And El-Rufai imposes 24 curfew on 2 local governments. 26% candidates obtain 5 credits, including English, Math, as WAEC release results. We have 1.5 million candidates registered for the 2022 UTME and direct entry. Detail of that story can be found on page 27 and 28. And COVID-19, 193 Ukraine evacuees test positive as federal government cancelled pre-departure PCR tests. And detail of that story can be found on page 3 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And that's all from the Daily Sun newspaper.
Thank you, Sele. On Voice of Liberty, Buhari summons power minister, governor, economic advisor over erratic power supply. Kaduna escalating insecurity. El-Rufai declares curfew in 2 local government areas as bandits kill 15. And still on insecurity, rescue Nigerians forest estate from kidnappers. Terrorist Forestry Association appeal to Buhari. And in Abuja, court sacks 20 Cross River lawmakers for defecting to APC. The Cross River government have approached the Cross River state government have approached the Court of Appeal in Abuja to challenge the sacking of 20 lawmakers for dumping the People's Democratic Party PDP for the All Progressive Congress APC. Recall that Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja had sacked the lawmakers in a ruling on Monday. The People's Democratic Party had filed a suit marked FHC ABJ CS 975-2021 against the lawmakers alongside Governor Ben Ayade over their defection to the All Progressive Congress. The presiding judge ruled that the lawmakers ought to vacate their seat, having abandoned the political party that brought them to power. Justice Taiwo, however, ordered the Assembly and other lawmakers who defected from the PDP to the APC should immediately vacate their seat. He held he held that all salaries and allowances paid to the lawmakers from the period of their defection to the present should be forfeited to the government coffers. Reacting in a statement by Christian Ita, special advisor on media and publicity to Governor Ben Ayade, the government said it is seeking a stay of execution against the judgment of a federal high court in Abuja. The statement noted that the motion on stay of execution had also been filed as the Federal High Court, even as he urged the lawmakers at the State House of Assembly and those at the National Assembly to go about their duties freely. The statement noted this is to inform all Progressive Congress members of the National Assembly from Cross River State, members of the Cross River State House of Assembly, and the general public that an appeal against the judgment of the Federal High Court, Abuja, have been filed at the Court of Appeal. Also, a motion for a stay of execution of the Federal High Court has been filed. Both processes were filed by renowned constitutional lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Mike Ezekume. Following the filing of the two processes, automatically the order of the lower court has stayed. Consequently, the APC members in both the National Assembly and the Cross River State House of Assembly should go about their duties freely. Find attached copies of the notice of appeal and the motion for the stay of execution of the orders of the Federal High Court, Abuja. And the total grounding of universities looms as Sasanu NASU gives federal government ultimatum. The total grounding of the Nigerian universities seems imminent as their non-academic staff have threatened to embark on a two weeks initial industrial action should the federal government fail to meet their demands on March 27. Recall that the teaching staff under the Academic Staff Union of Universities are already in the second of their 3-month initial strike. So aside the academic union of ASU going on the strike, we have the non-academic, that's the Sisano and even the NASU, still talking about embarking on a 2 weeks warning strike, and on the grounds of their payments not being met, their demands not being met. We keep on saying, for how long will we continue to go back and forth on issues like this for demands to be met by all these sectors that need all these things? Tell her they are working, have the right for their salary to be paid because they give out the duties they are supposed to give. So what is difficult in these people receiving their salaries as it's supposed to be, and even receiving it at the due date where they're supposed to be paid? We just need to look onto all these things, and we should not misplace our priority. We should prioritize what is taking us forward as a country, because all this strike have a way of affecting our country and giving a bad picture of the country even to Western world and even other countries. We just need to look into all these things, and we just hope that the Minister of Education, Ademu, will come out and do something about all these things. This is not time for us to fold arm and look out for other sectors, other places that are not relevant to your jurisdiction. He should look into his sector and give out the best, because going on all the strike at this point is not just encouraging to the student, to see students lamenting, wanting to leave the coffers of this country just because of all these things that are happening. So we just hope the Minister of Education will bring up something and find a lasting solution to all the strike, which we are looking out for how the ASU stop the strike and students will be back to school. And now we are having Sisano and all these places, they are very important. They work together. We can't say ASU should be back to school while Sisano are out of the school. So we need all those people to be back in the academic session, and the calendar should function as it's supposed to be, so that everything will work out fine in the country.
Very true, Tosi, very true.
And EFCC grants Obiano bail after spending days in custody. Talking about former governor of Anambra State, which is Willie Obiano. And on COVID-19, federal government reviews guidelines for international travel. Bandit kill village head. 23 orders in Zamfara. And that's of Liberty.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Blueprint newspaper. Defection like Ebuye court sack 20 Cross River lawmakers. We are replacing lawmakers immediately, and this is coming from PDP. And we have Umahi motion to stop removal stockouts. Detail of that story can be found on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. And the screaming story here say, amid renew Imo sit at home order, Buhari says it's time to review security situation in the southeast. Expresses worry over frequent power outages. Summer Uzudima and the power minister. We also have terrorists killed Zamfara monarch, 19 others, and Erufa imposes curfew on 2 Kaduna local governments. And even though I don't know, each time we read the paper, we always have the issue of insecurity. And Kaduna has been attacked. I think from Sunday night they have been, if you go to the social media especially, people have been lamenting. And yesterday I remember one of the callers from Kaduna was actually literally crying because they actually need help. And I know this is just one out of the many that are actually trying to raise their voice concerning the insecurity in the country. Are we going to face insecurity, or we're already having where thieves are already taking advantage of things like this? When you run and leave your house, they come around, sack and clean everything that you left behind. It's really sad that Nigeria is turning out to be a place more like violence is actually taking, or it's the order of the day, or terrorism. And that's why each time we'll not get tired of raising our voices that the government should do what is expected of them to do. This is where we'll actually ask, what are our security agency doing? Most of the time when you see most of the places that have been attacked, it's just maybe a kilometer away from where either they'll tell you checkpoint of the military or even the soldiers. And you begin to wonder what is happening then if you're just a little, not so far from the place where these things are happening. Why? Just yesterday in the paper, we're already excited that Zamfara were saying that gradually they are beginning to have peace, and they already recorded 700,000 people that have been displaced at IDP camps. So this is really a sad one. We need to do something. 2023 is just by the corner. What are you doing to make sure that citizens are safe so that they can come out and vote? The rains will soon be coming. People are not safe to go to their farmland, and even when they are able to farm, it's either we have all this Fulani herdsmen releasing their cows to go destroy some of these farms. Something needs to be done because we are really, really sad. I remember last year where we had issue where farmers went there and they said they didn't take permission before going to their farmland. Imagine in your own farm you can't even go. It's really, really sad. This is really, really sad, and we're just urging the government to please rise up to your responsibility. You were elected to make sure you protect lives and properties of citizens, so please do that is expected of you to do. Other stories still on the Blueprint. Here we have, after 4 days in EFCC custody, ex-governor Obiano granted bail. CIBN and IBSS to hold e-payment certification exam, and detail of that story can be found on page 22. Judgment evacuation. Court issues warrants of arrest on Ezeribi. And also on page 21 here we have Nigeria wheat import rise to 1.29 trillion naira in 2021. And on convention, APC begins screening of aspirants today. Buhari to commission new Lagos airport terminal today. And why CBN may leave interest rate orders unchanged. And this is coming from an expert. You want to know more about that story, you can check page 22 of the Blueprint newspaper. We also have a picture story here on the front page of the paper. Do well to get the Blueprint newspaper and read detail of any of the stories that is of interest to you.
Thank you, Sele. Moving to first newspaper. PDP, Atiku likely as consensus presidential candidate. The rider Tambuwal begins consultation, lambast Buhari. Still on insecurity, Kaduna declares 24-hour ultimatum in 2 local government areas, and court dismisses terrorism charges against journalist Abba Jalingo. The big story says alleged 42 billion naira fraud. EFCC releases Obiano on bail, set to punish officer behind arrest video leak. And Obiano's wife finally opens up on handing over day scuffle with Bianca. Ukraine, France freezes 850 million euro Russian assets, and WAEC records 26% pass in private candidate exams. Court sacks Cross River Speaker, 19 other lawmakers. The last story on First News says court jails teenager for cyber crimes. And that's all on the First newspaper.
Thank you, Tosi. Let's take a look at the Leadership newspaper. 23 killed, several houses burnt in fresh Kaduna attack. Court sacked 20 Cross River lawmakers over defection to APC. And we have President Muhammadu Buhari commissions the new Lagos Airport Terminal today. And you can see detail of that story on page 7 of the Leadership newspaper. And on convention, APC begins screening of aspirants. And the screaming story here say after 2 months of scarcity, CBN waits into fuel crisis to fund the PMS importation and distribution, in talks with electricity regulators to improve power supply. And we have no increase in petrol depot price. This is coming from NNPC. And we have the long queues persist as scarcity worsen. You know, this is really sad because we already had, I think from last week to the last 2 weeks, we already had assurance that already they already, will I say, sending fuel to the various filling stations. But we're still seeing transport fare has not still gone down, because it seems as if even the tricycle owners and even taxis are already comfortable with the prices. So they're in fact, I think it's their prayer that they should not be fuel, so that they keep charging citizens very high. We're still having the long queues because still just during the weekend kerosene a liter was 600 naira. So you could actually tell that these prices are still high, and we're having issues like this just after 2 months of this scarcity. So I'm asking, what is here the NNPC doing about this? The petrol minister actually came out last week to apologize to Nigerians and giving us his assurance, giving us his words that things will be better. Just yesterday, federal government said that there will be restoration of power nationwide. There was no power to see. We're in Nigeria. There's still no power. So this is the question we're asking, what is happening? It's not just for you to tell us, because talk is cheap. It's not just for you to come and give us assurance, but we need actions to follow that. And then when citizens come out to protest, at the end of the day, we see that they release security agents on innocent people that are without arms to protect themselves. Something needs to be done, because I know that we are tired of the situation we are facing currently. We are truly tired. Insecurity is there. There is no fear. So what is working in this nation presently? Students are at home as a result of the strike. Some hospitals are locked presently. Patients have been discharged to go to their various homes. So what is happening? These are questions that Nigerians need answer. Don't just tell us things. We need to see you backing those things out with action. Work on it. That's why we say we need competent leaders to actually lead Nigeria to the promised land, because it seems we are still in the wilderness. Permit me to use that word. We really need competent leaders to do something about it, because we're really tired. And we're just hoping that the government will actually hear us and stand up to do what is expected of them to do. If anybody is being elected into any office, any agency, make sure that you actually have the heart to carry out those things. You know that there's a problem in that sector. Are you willing? Do you know what it takes to handle that? It's not just about, being appointed or being given a position, but do you have the power? I'm waiting for the day someone will be elected or selected and he or she will say that I don't have the power or I don't have the strength. Somebody else should be given. I'm waiting for the day that will happen, because we need to be responsible as a nation. If truly we want to, invite other investors to see Nigeria as a land that they can invest in, then we need to do what is expected of us to do at the end of the day. Other stories still on the leadership. We have on 2023, Niger governor direct aides with ambition to resign. Nigeria, UK launch device to tackle climate change, and detail of that story can be found on page 9. We see also court declares Sowore arrest detention illegal. And we have even a picture story here. Do well to get the leadership newspaper and read detail of any story that is of interest to you.
Thank you, Sele. On Vanguard newspaper on health, we have COVID-19 worsens health of 66 million people saved from tuberculosis since 2000. And this is a review from World Health Organization. While ex-Governor Obiano is still in custody from the chairman of EFCC, Bauer, an energy crisis, Emefiele to engage NNPC, Power Ministry and others. Buhari over erratic power supply. Bank raise maximum lending rate to 30.73%. The big story on presidency, ruckus in APC over zoning to southwest. Southeast, South-South groups fold ceding of presidency to Southwest. Leaders in power-sharing arrangements as governors bury hatchets. Buni Apanduhehe assumes office at National Secretariat. Screening of aspirants begins today. Pro-Buhari group endorses Mustafa. Abia APC adopts Henry Iko for Southeast Vice Chairman. Senate APC caucus didn't endorse Adamu. This is coming from a spokesman. And nothing will stop APC convention on March 26 from Uzodinma. And bandits killed 43 in Kaduna, Zamfara as Governor El Rufai declares 24-hour curfew in 2 local governments. While on 2022 UTME and direct entry registration, why there won't be extension. This is coming from JAMB. And tension as unknown gunmen threat school in Imo. Parents storm school, withdraws word, and this should not be. You should not just relax on this. We need to do something about it, because since the threats have gone to the school and terrorists are threatening to invade such school, there should be security operative in that school and even in other schools, because it might be a way to just distract those people. It might be that they are targeting a different school but sending this letter to a particular school. So just withdrawing your words from such school is not enough. Security agencies should be deployed even in schools, because we need to safeguard the lives of students who've had issues where students were adopted in school and up to date some have not gone back to their parents. They are still in the den of these kidnappers. So we need security agencies in the school to look out for securities. And also, when a child is being picked in school, you should take cognizance of who is picking such child from school, because these people just they can just pretend to be someone who they are not. So we should be security conscious, either from the parents and even from the teachers. They should checkmate and check out for the students and who is coming to pick these people from school, because we need to be security conscious. And on COVID-19, federal government reviews international travel protocol. 18 political parties to participate in Osun governor poll. This is coming from INEC. And how we made Nigeria top 10 most improved world economies. This is coming from Lai Mohammed. And we're having issues in our country when you talk about we're in debt as a country, and Lai Mohammed is saying how we made Nigeria top 10 most improved world economies. I ask this question: improved in what area? Which area are we improved? Because if we're improved in security, we have issues of insecurity. Just 2 local governments now have been declared on 24 hours curfew, and we still have killings. We have cat killing in Niger State. In everywhere there is no security. When you talk about there is no money in circulation. People are running into debt. There are no job opportunities for people out there. So where are we improved as a top 10? If you look at top 10 countries that are improved in economies, you need to see the way they are thriving. We're not thriving as a country. And when you look at, we keep on borrowing money. We're out to borrow, and even when we borrow money, we still want to use the money in the wrong things that are not helping us in growth. So I wonder where we have improved and where we are top 10. We just need him to come out and even state the facts explain to us in places that we are top 10, in places we are thriving as a country, because it's clear that we are not thriving. It's clear that we are really backward. It's clear that things are not moving on for us as a country. When you see people calling, they keep on hammering on issues of insecurity. And I say, when there is insecurity, how do you expect growth? There is no growth. Growth will be far from us. Look at our security agencies. We had them where police said they are going to embark on a strike on Saturday, and that Saturday now is still a day for the APC convention. So you can see that the day is now open to talks, but the IGP is saying they are going to review their salaries. I keep on saying, must we bring issues of threats of strike before you can look into issues that need to be looked at? This has been a case of concern. It's supposed to be their salary and their welfare is supposed to be reviewed from the first day in the month of January year 2022, but we lingered. We extended it to March, where police said they will go on a 2 weeks protest before the IGP saying they are looking into their salary, they are looking into their welfare. We need to do something, because strike should not be the order of the day. We should not bring issues of strike before things can be looked into. Look at ASU now. Just 1 month warning strike have extended to 2 months now, going to the 3rd month. We need to look into all these things, and we are saying we are part of the 10 top most economic countries that are thriving in economics. We need the Minister of Information to come and give us the places we are thriving. Maybe our attentions are diverted from some places, so we can look into places that we are thriving and grow as a country, because that has been the plea and cry of Nigerians. We need to grow, we need to thrive in our country. And the picture story says, at the Nasiwa General Assembly, from left you can see the chairman, Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission, Professor Bolaji, and Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyoma, and EFCC Chairman Abdulrashid Bawa, and EFCC Secretary George Epunoge during the Network of National Anti-Corrupt Institution in West Africa, Nasiwa General Assembly in Abuja. We just hope that they put their heads together to tackle corrupt practices, because corrupt practices have become the order of the day. We see our politicians assuming offices with the intention to amass wealth, with the intention of greed and selfishness. So we just hope that this office will put hands together to look out for the good of Nigerians, to look out for the interest of Nigerians by arresting all those people, and for them to give out details of how their stay in office and how they've used the money that was allocated to them, how they spend those money, because we need transparency, we need equity, and we need fairness, not just from the citizens, even starting from the top. We need to look out for all those things from the top, and that we go below. And that's all on the Vanguard newspaper.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. Government cancelled COVID-19 PCR tests, and detail of that story can be found on page 28. Court sacked 20 Cross River lawmakers over defection. And we have Obiano's arrest not political, says EFCC. The ex-governor gets bail. And on the APC chairman Adamu El Makura Mustafa Akume Musa for screening. And we have drama over at the CECPC meeting. You want to know more about that story, you can check it on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. JAM has fixed UTME registration deadline for Saturday, so for those who have not yet registered for their JAM, do well to do that before Saturday. And we have police confirmed 16 killed in Zamfara. And the screaming story here says, South PDP governors demand presidential ticket. Obaseki absent at the meeting. We can't stop Atiku, Saraki and others. This is from the party. And we have a picture story here, which is a scene at the attack, and this is really a sad one from Kaduna down to Zamfara. We send our condolences to the families that have been affected as a result of that. And we have here, they said 23 killed and houses burned in Kaduna gunmen's attack. Detail of that story can be found on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And we have school shot in Imo over gunmen attack threat. We have more protests over the OAU VC, and detail of that story can be found on page 27 of the Nation newspaper, and that's all from the Nation newspaper.
Yes, thank you, Sele. At this point, we'll be right back after this timeout, where our phone lines need to be opened for our viewers to call. We have so many issues that are affecting Nigerians. We need you to call in to air your views on the stories, on things that are affecting you directly or indirectly. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. This is from the Dailies on Equa Television. Our phone lines are open for you to call, and do well to drop your comments on our official Facebook page. The next story, we have New Telegraph, which says there's a report investors to earn 780 billion naira as 2021 dividends. Telco's top offer with 174.442 billion naira. And on pension assets, investment in federal government securities dropped by 4 billion naira. Like over the week, we've been seeing drops in our investments, drops in our rate from coming from experts. I keep on saying, can't we see increase in all these things? We need to see increase, because when we see increase in our investment rate, pension assets, in our assets, our investments, seeing them going up, it will help us in our country, because the level at which we are now, the rate at which we are in debt, where they say even an individual is owing the country, because we are owing money. Just yesterday we saw it in our Business Day newspaper, over 200,000 each Nigerian is owing. I keep on saying, money that you did not spend, money that you did not use. How come you are owing the government this kind of money? We have a caller, Shama from Ghana. Good morning, Mr. Shama. Good morning, Mr. Shama.
Well, someone calling from Kaduna. My sister, the two sisters out there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Honestly, I wait since yesterday because of the siege in Southern Kaduna. Southern Kaduna, we don't know what we've done to the government. And they are aspiring for 2023 election. If they kill all of us in Southern Kaduna and the Christians in the country, who do they think will elect them? It's too under sun and rain to have voted these people into power. But today, we are being killed in our cold blood. The God of providence, the God of mercy, the God that brought us to life, will fight our cause. Someday, there will be life at the end of the tunnel. Good morning, my sister.
Thank you. We are hopeful, no matter what. We are hopeful as Christians that someday there will be light at the end of the tunnel. But when will that happen, Sele? We need to look into insecurity. People must not be wiped out before we can face all this issue of insecurity. We need our security agents to be deployed, and we need the government to do something about it, because it's one thing to have your security agents in all these places, and one thing for the government to give them the go ahead to wipe out all these people. We just need quick action on all these issues of insecurity. And Haruna is here from Kafanchan.
And we say that we have a problem that we can't solve. The government not to repeat to us.
Thank you, Mr. Haruna. Still on issue of insecurity, because he's calling from Kafanchan and he's wailing on what happened, because stories coming from Kaduna State, people could not sleep right from Sunday because of what is happening. Just as we keep on saying, we need the security to do something very fast about issues of insecurity in the country as a whole. And on the New Telegraph, Oil, Nigerian fails to meet OPEC's 1.8 MB quota. And CBN retains lending rate at 11.5%. And we have Mr. Hyacinth from Makurdi. Good morning.
On the issue of strike, the issue of strike is that when these other strike go on strike, they are not serious. They call up their strike very quickly, and then the thing continue to last. When they go on strike, they should be serious and on until they do what they do for them before they come.
Thank you, Mr. Hyacinth. Still talking about strike. He said when they go on strike, they should be serious about their demands, because they should not call off the strike after giving a percentage of what they are demanding for. When you go on strike, fight till the end. You should not be carried away with the little things, the little advances that come from those people. And we just hope that ASU will be hearing this and also put this into practice. We should not be carried away with the little thing they give you. Go for your demand. Let us fight it to the end, so that we can resolve this issue of going on strikes, so that academic section can go on and there won't be disruption in their calendars. And the big story on New Telegraph: APC sets for national convention as governors resolve differences. Party agog as Buni resumes chair CCPC meeting. Bello Okeitete absent at forum. Mr. Peter from Otupo, good morning.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
The issue of killing our people don't care about it. They are doing it in their own selfish interest. Because if you look at the whole thing, because the security thing is not affecting their people. If you look at it, their children, most of their children are all in overs. And most of us are less privileged. They are the common people that these people are killing. So if you look at the whole problem is in the position, and they are the one causing all these problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Greed, selfishness has become the order of the day coming from our politicians, because they are not worried with the issue of insecurity. Like our caller said, most of them, their children are there, their families are there. So they are the only ones in this country. So they are not worried about what is happening. Some are not even aware of all these local governments that are being invaded. Just as our Minister of Education will say, he's not aware that ASU are embarking on strike. So we need to get our PVC. That is where we begin to kick out bad government and bring in the good government. So help us God. And still on New Telegraph: insecurity. Buhari summons Uzodinma, approves more security personnel for Imo. Mr. Ugochukwu from Nsukka, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ugochukwu. I'm calling to contribute as it regards to security situation in the northern part. There, right now. I want to say that government can't be excluded from what is happening in the northern side. They know those who are responsible for it. That is why it has lingered. One leader once said last month that the government knows those who are behind it. I have a one, and it is now a custom in the community where he lives that this bandit comes in numbers to pack, both children, women, and men to their place, I mean where they hide out, and they'll keep demanding for money. My brother was telling me that if the government wants to do something about it, that they can do something about it. You even mention names of those who may be responsible for those things, that they are keeping quiet. That they know who are those who are in charge of those mandatory acts. So they are sincere about it to do something. And again, on the issue of strike, I was last week to suggest that students should not stay at that what is finish. Citizens of Nigerians who the whole nation are ransom. Who get now abroad. Most of them are abroad. They are enjoying the good life. And we want the money they and we are suffering. It shouldn't be so.
Thank you, Mr. Ugochukwu. And still on New Telegraph, insecurity, Buhari summons Udodima, approves more security personnel for Imo. The rider, we are reaching out to aggrieved politicians. This is from governors. And I didn't threaten unknown gunmen. Nwodo. Mystery letter causes panic in Owerri. Schools, businesses shut down. And on sacking, court strikes out Umahi. Deputy stay of execution application sacks 20 Cross River lawmakers for defecting to APC. Issues certificate of return to Igwariwe. We have Mr. Odogu from Taraba. Good morning.
Madam, God bless you now. You understand? You see, that strike where federal government they do now, men are students to see. Because of that strike now, don't they do Yahoo? You see, now, iPod now. You don't carry for anyhow. If you come to terrorism, man, okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Odogu. But we need to say that irrespective, no matter what is happening, no matter the strike, no matter the hard times we are facing in our country, doing the wrong thing is not good. Doing Yahoo, carrying guns up and down won't help. We have other things. We have other good jobs you can do that will help you and even help your give you a good name, because a good name is better than silver or gold. So this is going out to students out there, going out to our youths out there. We should not allow the situations that is surrounding us in our country make us do the wrong things and damage our reputation and even that of our parents. Let's do the right thing. It will help us, and someday, sometime, we'll have testimonies to give out on things we went through and how we stood in the right path, irrespective. And still on New Telegraph, here we have a study links BPA to asthma risks. We have a few picture stories on the front page. Do well to visit to look out for what interests you. That's all on New Telegraph.
Thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at this day newspaper. Emifere, unprecedented oil theft affecting economy. CBN leaves MMR unchanged at 11.5%. Predict moderation in food prices. Urges NNPC to ensure adequate fuel supply to check price average by marketers. Says in Franco, up and running, secure 250 million naira in bridge finance. You want to know more about that story? You can look it up on page 40 of this day newspaper. We have NDPHC to restore 800 megawatts to power grid to boost supply. Detail of that can be found on page 6. And Sarah K said ministers of state position will be occupied by youths under 40 in my presidency. Well, it's one thing for you to say, it's another thing for it to be implemented. For it's not just for you to use sweet words, to lure the youth to vote for you. At the end of the day, they don't even get to even see being a chairman in their own local government. So it's not just for you to give us your words, but we need to see that being backed up with actions at the end of the day. Other stories here: defection again, court sacked 2 reps, 18 Cross River Assembly members. Imoke hails judgment. State government appeals file stay of execution. And the screaming story here: 4 days to APC convention, Buni harmonizes subcommittee, screening starts today. And the writer under that story say party inaugurates media committee. Today, APC governor have resolved their differences. Uzodinma confident March 26 is sacrosanct. Senate has no consensus candidate, says the spokesperson. And we have a picture story here where we have the President Muhammadu Buhari after receiving briefing on the state of the economy from his chief economic advisor, Professor Doni, at the State House Abuja recently. And we actually hope with the report he has received that he will kick and start working on things that are happening, because if you have been given the briefing on the state of the economy, then you definitely know that presently Nigeria is going through a lot. It seems to be like cancer that is eating us, and if we don't do something fast to remove the tumor, it's going to spread to the entire part of the nation. So we just hope that with the advice he has been given, he will actually have people that will work with the advice that he's giving. It's one thing for him to give out instruction, and it's another thing for those instructions to be carried out at the end of the day. So we just hope that with the briefing that the president has received concerning the state of the economy, he's going to do something. We're still hoping for power to be restored. We're still hoping to see that fuel is not available, and that food prices has gone down. These are things that are immediately, and especially security, because almost all our callers have been hammering on the issue of insecurity. And that's why I said it still boils down to the people that are sponsoring this. We need to see those names on the TV. We need to see their faces. We need to see the people. We just don't want to hear that they're handling it over there in Abuja. No, we want to see it, because when they were killing, we had the pictures on our papers. The pictures were on the TV. So we need to see those people, and they need to be taught a lesson, because we don't want to treat them as if they are friends. They are not our friends. They are our enemies. So we need to treat them as the enemies that they are. And the last story on this day said EFCC recovers 152 billion naira, $385 million, and record 2,220 convictions in 1 year. Detail of that story can be found on page 42 of this day newspaper. That's all to say.
Thank you, Sally. On Daily Trust, 10 dangerous criminal spots to be wary of in Abuja and Lagos. And federal government cancels pre-travel PCR test for vaccinated international travelers. While fuel scarcity persists in Abuja and northern states, vehicle owners sleep at filling station. Russia-Ukraine war slows product importation, and this is from officials. Only affordable diesel would bring respite from marketers. Why many households still lack water, and this is from the minister. Even in Plateau State, we still have places where there are lack of water. They've not brought water for over a month now. So we just need the minister to look out to all this, and if it's damaged pipeline, then they should repair all those pipelines so that people can have water. I mean, all these things, all this situation, then not having water again is another thing, and we are in the dry season, so we need something to be done about this. As we restore light, also we need to restore water back to community. APC yet to screen aspirants, 4 days to convention. We have Emmanuel from Imo. Good morning. Good morning, Emmanuel. Do well to call us back. We're having interruption with your network. And 24 killed, several houses burnt in renewed southern Kaduna hostilities. Bandit kill village head 19 others in fresh Zamfara attack. And that's all on Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, let's take a look at the Punch. Bad fuel marketers submit report on damages await the federal government compensation. Detail of that can be found on page 25. Massive oil thefts threatening external reserve and revenue. This is coming from the MPC. And on subsidy, FAAC meets today as NNPC deduction threatens state's allocation. We won't allow the 242 billion naira deduction from March allocation, and this is coming from Delta. Again, bandit raid Kaduna, Zamfara killed 62, adopt 62 rounds, 70 houses. And on the APC chairmanship, Almakura, Adamu, Yare, others learned fate as aspirant screening holds today. And the writer for the story says governors initiate last-minute move for consensus candidate. APC caucus hasn't endorsed any chairmanship aspirant, and this is coming from the Senate. And we have a picture story here where the Vice President Yemi Zubanjo and others.
Sele, sorry to cut you short. Emmanuel is back from Imo. You have 30 seconds to air your views.
Okay, madam, thank you. You see, as I was asking earlier, who is the chairman of that Vanguard newspaper? Why will you say that they are threatening schools? We are told earlier that I put imposes at home every Monday. There is nothing like threatening schools. Yes, and whether they like it or not, it will continue until our demand is seen like it you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel.
Well, other stories here, which is a picture story on the Punch. We have the Vice President, Yemi Osibanjo, and others during the inauguration of the Toyota Service Center in Oshodi in Lagos on Monday. And we can see people over there at the terminal. Federal government scrapped PCR tests for fully vaccinated travelers, unvaccinated teenagers. Youth desert or your community as soldiers drafted to maintain peace killed. And this really is sad one. Lagos Ogun Rivers lead as state debt hit 6.4 trillion naira in 2021, and this is coming from the debt management. And we have other stories here that have NAFDAC warns against 4 male sexual enhancing dangerous ingredients. And that's all from the Punch newspaper. Any story that is of interest to you, please do well to get the paper and read detail of that.
And thank you, Sele, for doing this with me.
Thank you.
We had quite a number of callers this morning who called to air their views on stories that interest you. We are grateful for calling. Evangel Art News updates will come by 10:30 a.m. on the station. Do well to follow, and thanks for staying tuned. We still have more interesting programs for you. Thank you and God bless.